You already know what time it is, man. The young GOAT in the building. Make sure you tune in to True Hill Heat Podcast.
What's up, True Hill Heat? True Hill Heat.
What's up? True Hill Heat.
Rob Van Dam. Listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Hill Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for NXT Heatwave 2024 preview. Breaking down the card this coming Sunday from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And it's an NXT preview, so you know who I called on the bat phone immediately for this preview. You've seen him on the Stand and Deliver preview. You've seen him on the Battleground preview, which was, I will be honest, one of my favorite previews that I've done this year because we just joked around and had a great time. He is the one, the only, from Fightful Select. One of the best reporters, new reporters out there in the game. Don't want to get in trouble with my new boss, Shawn Spears. Corey Brennan, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very good. Just, well, not very good, but very good for the last few weeks. As I've said to people who don't know, my grandmother's been really sick, but got a lot of wrestling to get into this weekend, so that'll help a lot. And yeah, just looking forward to all that.
Yes, indeed. We got the big shows coming up in Toronto, starting tonight with SmackDown in Toronto, then following up with Money in the Bank on Saturday, and then NXT Heatwave on Sunday. I talked about this with Maggie as well as Spencer Love on Wednesday with our Money in the Bank preview. But how do you feel, being an NXT fan, how do you feel about NXT being second behind Money in the Bank? Because it's still weird to me that's like you're doing a whole big weekend and NXT is the capper when most people are going there for Money in the Bank. How do you feel about that?
I think it's literally I think it's good that it's almost a heat wave is kind of when you have a 2-show weekend, it's usually the Sunday is the big event. It's the bigger event. Yeah. It's the main event, so to speak. But they've switched it up. So I think it's an interesting way to look at things. Obviously, when you have NXT and WWE on the same weekend, it's the Saturday versus Sunday, or even sometimes the NXT event ends up happening on Friday or just earlier on the day, like Stand and Deliver does. So yeah, I think that it could be. I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see because it's still going to be a packed house for the based off the last WrestleTix update. It's still going to be a really big house for an NXT event, which is good to see, especially after they took the hit of the attendance for Battleground. So yeah, I'm interested by it, man. I'm interested by it a lot, to be honest.
Yes, it's going to be a very interesting weekend in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Hello to all our friends out there. If you're watching us live, if you're watching us on demand, we appreciate y'all for joining us for this NXT Heatwave preview. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You just drop the thumbs up on this video. It helps the YouTube algorithms. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could drop a thumbs up, a heart emoji, an angry emoji, a laughing emoji. However, NXT Heatwave is making you feel before this coming Sunday. Let us know with those emotes. If you're watching us on Twitter, you could drop the heart, retweet the video, helps other wrestling fans like yourself watch it. But most of all, if you're watching on any of those platforms, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. But of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, the best way to have your comment highlighted on screen, if you got a question, a hot take, or anything you want to say to me or Corey, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, and we always appreciate that support. We got Love Wrestling's own Pluggo in the chat saying, what's good, legends? What's going on, Pluggo? I don't know if Pluggo's with the rest of the Love Wrestling crew. They got a big weekend. We talked about it with Spencer Love. They're doing watch parties out there. They got plenty of content on the way, so check out our friends over at Love Wrestling. We got Corey Michaels in the chat saying, I hope everyone loses on Heatwave. Well, damn. You want a whole bunch of no contests? What's going on?
50-50 booking to the maximum. just nickname it NXT 50-50 or some shit like that.
You might be onto something. See, Corey Brennan, breaking news here.
No.
NXT 50-50.
No, we're not doing that, even jokingly, because people out there whose IQs aren't high enough and they can't understand sarcasm or humor or nuance. So let's not do that. Even
Come on, this is True Hill Heat. Tell them how you really feel, Corey. Corey, come on. Hold no punches back here. I love it. He said it with his chest, yo. That's what I love to hear.
I'm just saying, like, there is that sect of wrestling fans who probably haven't got that, or whose IQ is probably in the negative, man. Let's be real. And like they seem to take everything that I say literally. So I don't really want that to kind of happen, even with something like that. Hey, Corey reported that 50-50 was the way they were going to do a heat whip. No. I made a stupid joke that wasn't serious in the slightest, judging by the fact that we were both laughing. But anyway, I can't remember the name of the site off the top of my head, but it's the site that Shawn has been tweeting out a bit recently, and I've seen it a bit. So I can't remember the name of the site, but you know who I'm talking about, and knowing them, they'll find a way to make it like that. So
don't worry. I've went in on plenty of ops on this channel, so it wouldn't be the first time. Here we got Pluggo who says, I'm hanging back watching from my couch. Well, you're gonna enjoy it. That's the best seat in the house to me, most of all. Like I go into events sometimes, but most of the time I just like watching the shows from my home, being comfortable. But you went to Clash at the Castle. How was that experience? We haven't talked to you since then.
It was my first time going to like a live taping and a TV show, or not TV show, and a pay-per-view. Like, oh crap, premium live event. Sorry.
Don't get bullied. Bully Ray is watching somewhere. He's upset right now.
No, it was an awesome experience. Like, it was definitely like a crazy pair of shows to kind of have that first kind of experience with, and the media stuff and all that was great. Getting to talk to everyone in UK media pretty much that was there was awesome. Alistair McGeorge and so on, like, with everyone was just awesome to talk to, and the media day was great, other than the fact that my audio and mics were just not working. Only got the AJ Styles interview, but it was still crazy to get to talk to AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Bailey. Like, all just, that was awesome. Just, it was a crazy good experience. Everyone at WWE was awesome to deal with as well. Just, and it was just a different kind of atmosphere. Like, at all the European premium live events, you see it on screen, like, but it's another thing entirely to just be in that crowd and feel the energy live in the building. Like, so that was pretty cool.
Yes, and I did not realize because we always do shows, sitting down. But you're a tall individual. You made AJ Styles look like a dwarf. I don't think he
I'm only
appreciated.
6 foot. Like I'm only 6 foot. Is that tall? Like is that really tall?
I mean, for me and AJ Styles of the world, yes, that's tall.
I mean,
Tall.
I expected Drew to tower over me more, but it's my cover photo now, and we're nearly eye level. So like, it doesn't change the fact that he's a scary dude when you're looking like just fucking unit of a man. But yeah, he was. They were all awesome to talk to. Everyone was just so like. I said this on another podcast. AJ was either he was leaning into his camera or he hadn't had his coffee that morning yet because he was a bit on the grumpy side, but at the same time he was still awesome just to talk to him and just get to know him and stuff like, well, not get to know him, but like just to interview him and have that under my belt like that. AJ Styles was a top 10 interview for me when I got into doing media. Like I didn't think I'd ever be doing them, but I have a list and I've ticked off 5 or 6 of them already. And
Nice.
a few more of them are coming soon. That's something that I haven't actually talked about. I've got one of them is coming soon. I'm not sure when. I'm waiting to hear back on it. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews as well. So that was just kind of another like experience to have, really.
That's what's up. I love to hear that type of stuff. We got Chilling with Chase with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chase, for the support. Chase saying, don't get too emotional talking about Lola Vice and her opportunity like she did on Tuesday. I mean, I got very touched. I was very touched by that segment. And then my missus came into the room and she was like, I don't know why you watch this stuff. And I was like, damn.
Like,
I was like that
I'm sorry, but
that embarrassing feeling of watching wrestling.
The thing is, up until that point, the segment was awesome for me. Like we'll talk about that a little more, but like, holy crap, how fast it went from just a really good emotional segment to just almost a parody of the same segment in like just 2 seconds, and all just based off what Lola did. Like just one movement, one decision, and changed the entire segment. And don't get me wrong, it was still pretty. Like, can't fault.
I might be in a disagreement because I did not. I'm sorry. I agreed that it was going well, and then it just. And some people tell me, "Oh no, they made it up at the end." I was like, I couldn't get back into it. I was done. They lost me. I couldn't get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's NXT for you, though. Let's be real. That just sums up NXT as a whole. Like they sometimes they do have misses. Like at the end of the day, it's better if they have the misses in NXT than they go and they try and do this stuff on main roster television. So like you have to kind of like, it is developmental. So there is going to be stuff that isn't going to be perfect, and that's the way I look at most NXT content now, anyway. Especially now, it is developmental. It's not black and gold, guys. Like it's getting to that point again. I think they are getting to that point again. I said this on both times that we talked. I said they are slowly getting to that point again, that they're like black and gold. But no, I think that they have like, I don't know. I feel like that segment, it was a strong go home segment anyway. But yeah, I think they could have done without the crying and the dancing at the same time. I think we could have left that on the cutting room floor. But yeah, just I don't even know how to really phrase it, because I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on the product, because I'm not. I'm very understanding that they're like this thing. A lot of people will like highlight something like you on Twitter. They'll highlight something on NXT and it's a botch or something like that, and it's like. Yeah. Come on, like, guys, come on. Like, it's a developmental program. They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect. Like, just the storylines aren't going to be perfect. And Shawn said that in the media call. Like, he said that some things aren't going to be perfect. Some things are going to have to rein back in, like the Brooks Jensen storyline. So,
yeah. And I appreciate him being as honest and forthcoming as he's been, because it takes that's not the Shawn Michaels we grew up with. To admit that type of stuff.
Well, for me, a little bit, because I grew up in the 2000s, so he wasn't as bad then. Like, so might have been a bit more for you, but for me, I grew up with I grew up with Born Again Shawn Michaels, so I have a different outlook on Shawn entirely to a lot of people. Obviously, I'm well aware of Shawn 90 Shawn. So I'm not blissfully ignorant to it, guys. Don't worry about that. It's just, yeah, I kind of just, you said grew up on it. I was like, this motherfucker's aged me about 10 years. I'm literally 25 years old, for God's sake, man. I was barely a 90s baby.
I'm a full decade older than you, sir. I don't look it because black don't crack, but if you get a close up, you'll see the grays in my beard. But we got Vala. Oh, everybody's tall. Everybody's tall. All right, guys. You guys are all tall. We got Vala B who says, I'm 6'3", mate. We're tall. We also got Greg Carter the second who says, I'm 6'4" too. I guess we're tall. I'm like, these guys, all right, you guys are much taller than me.
If they were interviewing you, SB3, they'd have to do the Kevin Patrick special of just the knees down to nearly the floor. That's what they'd have to do. I'm sorry.
I used to love that. That used to pop me every time. He's like,
if we ever meet up in person, that's what we're doing. We're gonna act like I'm interviewing you, and we're gonna have me just do the stance and just I don't know how much taller I actually am than you because I'm 6 foot flat. So, but
I'm about 5'7" on a good day. So you're
on
pretty.
A good day.
On a good day. On a good day.
So if you were billed in WWE, you'd be 5'6", is what you're saying.
No, they would bill me at probably like 5'8", 5'9", like they do Carmelo Hayes.
Get you some lifts,
I have met Carmelo Hayes when he was in the Indies. We're eye to eye. So yeah, they'll bill me at like 5'9", 5'10", like they do Mel.
There's my new scoop. WWE have been lying about Carmelo Hayes' height this whole goddamn time. The big scoops and shit like that.
I got you the inside job there. Vala B saying the segment was dog water. See, we don't need to shit on any of the segments, me or Corey. You guys do it for us. We appreciate y'all. We also got a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Ryan C, who says, any info on when, if Delta joins NXT? Who is Delta and why are they joining NXT?
She's an Australian pro wrestler that's drawn a lot of comparisons to Rhea. She's drawn a lot of comparisons to Rhea because she's a powerhouse as well. She's finishing up in Australia. That's what we know. She was part of the tryouts at Elimination Chamber. The latest that I have on Delta, guys, is that it's the same thing that I've told everyone. I've done it in Q&As. I've done this, that, the other. It's pretty clear that she is probably going to NXT. That's what I would say. I haven't been able to confirm it. I haven't been able to confirm with WWE, with Delta herself, with anyone close to Delta. But the assumption is from everyone that I spoke to in the Australian scene. I spoke to other wrestlers in PWA. I spoke to just other people that would know. And they couldn't confirm for me 100%, but they all agreed that it's a pretty safe bet that she's going to NXT. And I think she's probably going to set NXT on fire. She's not going to be like she's going to come in like Julia, I think, in the sense that you're not going to see her on Level Up. You are not going to see this woman on Level Up. I think that Delta is someone who's going to get a very short stint in NXT, because she's fantastic all around. Her promos are great. Her in-ring stuff is great. She looks like a star. Like I said, she's drawn comparisons from Rhea, which is never a bad thing when you look at the fact that Rhea is probably the biggest female star they have. And even when she's on the sidelines, she's still part of the biggest women's storyline on Raw. So, so the latest on that is it's the same as it's kind of always been. There's no real concrete info for me to share, just that the same stuff as always, that I would say that it's a pretty safe bet that she will end up in NXT.
See, I learn something new every day. See, I don't know all the wrestling, guys. I don't know the Australian wrestling. This is why I get Corey on here, because he knows this stuff. I thought you were making a joke of when the airline Delta was going to join NXT. So I learned something new today. Okay. Appreciate you, Ryan C, and appreciate you, Corey. We also got chilling with Chase, who says it's okay, SP3. I'm 5'9" on a good day. Always appreciate those good days. And then we also got Chris, who said ESPN, I guess, announced their ranking of the top women's wrestler, and Bayley is the #1 female wrestler. Well, at least ESPN is showing her some love, because WWE sure don't. I'm sorry.
Pretty much.
I am tight of how they booked her since she won the title at WrestleMania. I don't know about everybody else, but anytime I get the opportunity to rant and be upset at WWE's lack of respect for Bayley, this is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but like, well, if Chelsea Green wins, then you know that she's probably not going to be champion much longer. Well, I don't know how long they're going to put that briefcase on Chelsea, to be honest. They could put that on her for a long time. She's a character that could hold that for a long time, and they could get a lot of use out of false cash-ins with Chelsea. So I don't know, to be honest.
This is true. I'm going with Tiffy time. I need the Barbie briefcase. That's what I need in my life.
I need Chelsea or Lyra. Other than that, well, to be honest, the thing is, both fields are awesome. Like, let's be honest, like both fields, I think no one would complain about anyone winning. I think people might complain if Zoe Stark wins, which I really don't get. But
weird.
But like, I think it's really good that both of them are great. So I think it's been like last year's was kind of similar. Like both Money in the Bank ladder matches, you could really understand if they'd give it to anyone. Same thing this year, maybe even more so. And I think especially in the men's really any of them could win, and the fans would probably be behind them regardless. It's the same kind of situation. Hopefully this year that they do decide to put it on someone who's going to get a big pop though. So I'd like to see one of the faces win probably, but it's probably going to be Drew.
Yeah. I like the fact that all the people kind of have a story other than like Andrade or Mello, which in point makes them more likely to win the briefcase as well, because they don't really have stories, but everybody else, they have a reason to win it or not win it because of the stories that they have going into the matchup. So it is cool with the men's, and the women have a lot of great potential as well. But we got to talk about this show on Sunday, NXT Heatwave, and we got I think this is the first time we're talking about it, because this is the first time they're announcing an event. We got a pre-show matchup to talk about because we have a big one featuring some Toronto talent, as Carmen Petrovich will team up with probably my favorite character in the women's division of NXT right now, Ariana Grace, to face the duo of JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. This one came together this past Tuesday on NXT, as Ariana Grace was upset that she didn't have a matchup for NXT Heatwave because she is from Toronto, and she's more Toronto than Carmen Petrovich. She's more Canadian than Carmen Petrovich, who also was upset she didn't have a matchup before Jasmine Nix and JC Jane came in to make fun of them. It was Nix versus Petrovich later on in the night, with JC Jane helping Nix pick up another key victory after her recent victory over Thea Hale. And this set up a tag team matchup after Ariana Grace went to Ava and basically made it a tag team matchup because she wanted to get on the card. That's the only reason she's teaming up with her. And that's why Ariana Grace is my pick for the best female character in NXT right now. What did you think about the lead up to this matchup? What do you got winning?
I think it's probably Ariana doing that is probably the best way you could possibly get her on this card. Like, genuinely, like it's just such an Ariana Grace thing to do. Her character has just been, she's so much like her dad in the sense that she gets comedy and wrestling to a T. I think she is going to be, she's not someone that's going to stand out and win like a lot of championships. I don't like, probably tag titles. I think she's going to be a big part of the tag team division, to be honest, based on just how she works, how like and stuff like that. So if they do pair her with Carmen for a little while, I wouldn't complain about it. I think she's probably the biggest character that they have in the NXT women's division. Like, you've got a lot of athletes there who are great in the ring. They've simple gimmicks that they've gotten over themselves, but like, she really has gotten her like just this insane character. Like, her character is insane. Again, she has no sense of nuance whatsoever. But I think that this was probably a spot that they were probably saving for Gigi Dolan. I'd say that was their original plan. That's just speculation. I don't know, but I imagine that would have been the case because they were hoping to do the Gigi storyline for a while. Obviously, JC being on the other team, it would have made sense.
Would have made a lot of sense. You're right.
Would have made a lot. But this match in general, I think is really good to have. I think it's good that they have a kickoff, a pre-show match on all. I think NXT especially, you really should be given as much talent as possible this experience in front of these big crowds. So you like the more experience to get, the less pressure they feel, and so on and so forth. It's just basic development and talent. And the 4 women in this match, obviously JC's been on premium live events before. She's had that experience. She'll probably be the lead experience in this match with Carmen, Ariana, and Jasmine Nix. I think, is this all their first premium live events? I think it might be.
The other 3, yeah, I think it is their first time on premium live event.
And when you look at the other 3, you look at 3 women who are coming through and they are actually getting over, like especially Jasmine. Jasmine's popular. Her Pele kick is awesome. You've got Carmen, who has been paired with Natalia, and she's been doing really well there. And obviously Ariana, everyone loves Ariana. Like, she gets heat in NXT's at the Performance Center, but you see it online. Every time she's on television, she becomes a meme. Like, it doesn't matter what she does. She comes out of a segment and there's a new meme that she's created. Like, she's just so much like her dad in that aspect, but she's also such a good worker as well. She's actually a really good worker. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. I think they'll have to go with the hometown winners. I think that's pretty obvious. So, yeah, I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be nice to hear kind of the crowd be in support of Ariana Grace with her ridiculous character. I think that she has a lot of potential. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you and go with the Toronto team, the Canadian and more Canadian versus Nyx and Jane. I think that Nyx and Jane make a good duo, and I think that JC Jane is going to be like a stalwart. You said Ariana Grace. I think JC Jane, when she finally gets called up to the main roster, she's going to be a stalwart of the tag team division because she has so much experience as a tag team performer. And I like the whole kind of different personality she's showing off ever since she got the undashing mask. So I like the potential of this one here. It should be a nice little kickoff matchup. But yeah, the Toronto team gets the win. We got Kaza in the chat, I believe that is, saying SP3 the GOAT. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for that. We got more people talking about Money in the Bank, chilling with Chase saying no Zoe. So he's a part of the anti-Zoe brigade. We got Zach who says a ton of the IWC would despise it if Jay wins or Drew winning just to lose it day of. I mean,
who cares? Who cares?
If you were upset about Drew getting screwed in Scotland, I mean, you should just expect him to get screwed if he wins the Money in the Bank. So I don't understand why people would despise that.
People would despise Jay winning, except everyone in the arena.
Exactly.
So, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Like, I'm sorry, but they don't care about, well, they do obviously care about the online backlash. Obviously, we saw that earlier this year, but for something like this, Jay is stupid over. His merch sales, everything's going well for him. So I don't see, because there's a small sect of the IWC, and I don't think a ton will. I think a lot of people who just want to hate on anything WWE do will be complaining about, who don't even watch it. There'll be people who don't even watch WWE saying, why would they do this? Well, at the end of the day, they're not booking for you, my dude. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but WWE fans really, really like Jey Uso. So, yeah. At the end of the day, I think Jay winning probably is the most sensible way to get him to a world title. He's a tag wrestler, at heart. So,
yeah, it is true. And we saw Sean Rossap tweeted out, I think yesterday, that Bet Online has Jey Uso as the favorite, and I know other betting odds has Drew at the favorite. So they seem to be the two most likely to win the briefcase. So tomorrow. So we'll see. But let's talk about the main show, and let's talk about Corey's favorite current tag team that hasn't been doing well ever since Corey said he was his favorite tag team since Battleground. They've been arguing more and more, but they look to defend their NXT Tag Team Championships here at Heatwave in Toronto against one of my favorites of the NXT brand, at least, Chase U, which also is having a whole bunch of problems with their newest member, Ridge Holland, but it will be Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, former NXT Tag Team Champions, going up against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Chase U won the Tag Team Turmoil, defeating New Catch Republic with the help of Ridge Holland after they picked up a victory over the OC with the help of Ridge Holland, but it was revealed by Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson is a snitch. He tattletaled to the teacher and told on Ridge Holland. So Ridge Holland has been told not to go with them to Toronto, while Riley Osborne and Thea Hale will be in the corner of Chase U against the NXT Tag Team Champions, who have not been on the same page, as Nathan Frazier has been more focused on singles opportunity, whether it be the NXT Heritage Cup, whether it be being in the Battle Royal for the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. Hell, the man was on WWE Speed this week in the #1 contender matchup against Xavier Woods. He lost that. He lost the Heritage Cup. He lost the Battle Royal. Now all of his focus should be on the tag team titles. But Corey, what have you thought about the dissension between Axiom and Frazier? And what have you thought about the build to this match? And who do you got winning?
I think that I like it as long as they stay together. As long as it doesn't end in one of them turning, I really don't mind it. I think if you want to do it, fine. But as long as they come out the other side of it, still a tag team, even if they're not champs, I don't really mind. They're too good together to split them up so soon. Like, that's an act that can carry them through to the main roster. And I'm sorry, but they are such a casual, friendly tag team. I think I said that when we did the Battleground one. Because I'm sorry, but if you think the casuals are complaining about two guys doing all this high flying shit, and you think they're like these guys who are like, oh my God, any flip shouldn't be in wrestling. Like, they don't care. They don't care about that. They see these two guys who do really cool shit, and that's all they care about. They don't care if that's killing the business. They think it's cool. End of story. That's the thing. That's the thing about wrestling. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's killing the business or not. If it looks cool, people are going to like it. End of story. So I think I want Frazier and Axiom to win this, but I agree that but I also think that Chase U, they're going to keep going with what they're doing. They're going to probably end up splitting them up, or at least they're kind of having an internal civil war almost within Chase U, because it seems to be that's the way they're going. Like, Riley almost wants to cheat. Like, he acts like it's not a big deal. So, like, I don't know. There seems to be a lot going on in that storyline that I almost don't know how to predict it going down. I like Chase U. I always like Chase U. I don't really mind if they win. But I do think that Frazier and Axiom will probably retain. I think how it should have. I almost would have liked to seen Frazier win the Heritage Cup and have them defend it simultaneously, similar to how Newport Cratch Crew were doing it. So that would have been fun. But like, I think they have. I think it would almost be pretty funny if, like, after this, what they did was Axiom ended up becoming the #1 contender for the NXT Championship or something, and then Frazier turning around and being like, "Hey, wait a second," and then Axiom be like, "I tried your way, now I'm trying our way," and then just build off it with that. I think they have an opportunity here to go against the grain of how they usually book these tag team storylines, where it has to end in them maybe just have it end in them broing it up, basically, and then have them be stronger for it. That's all you got to do. You don't need to split them up. So I hope they don't split them up, but it depends really on because let's be honest, if they're going to turn one, it'll be Frazier turning.
Yeah,
I imagine. So who knows? Maybe Frazier is a really, really good heel. He's basically Seth Rollins with an English accent. So, like, who knows? But if I had to pick one, I think it'd be and still.
I'm going to go with Chase U winning the tag team championships here, because I believe Ridge Holland is not going to listen to them, and he's going to once again cheat to get them the win. I think that would be the way I would predict this story going. I'm hoping that Frazier and Axiom don't split up, because we've talked about it before. You've compared them to Paul London and Brian Kendrick. I've compared them to the Motor City Machine Guns. And so I think that the best thing for them to do is stick together and then throw some TNA teams over on NXT and let them go at it with the Rascals and ABC, because those would be
Yes,
bangers.
please.
So like I want them to stick together because I feel like they could be stalwarts of the tag team division, but you gotta give them like there has to be some payoff to the dissension and the fact that Nathan Frazier hasn't been focused. So I think that the payoff to that is that they lose the tag team titles here, and Chase U does what they did last time. They have a short run with the titles before giving it back to the same guys they beat. That's what I think is going to be what's going to happen here.
So what you want to happen is you want Tia Hill to get very, very happy and then take her smile away again. I don't know if anyone's noticing this, but they're doing this quite a bit. She gets really, really happy. She goes crazy as she usually does, and then she almost gets like she has a mania switch, and then she gets manic depressed. She goes, oh, and she looks like a child that you took away their favorite toy from. Like it's crazy. Like she is literally like a child running around the place in NXT, and I think it's hilarious. And I think you're an awful person for wanting to do that.
Thank you. That's the nicest thing you've said to me all day.
Yeah.
We got a super chat donation here from Will Chisholm. Look out. Thank you so much, Will. He says they will lose because HBK hates Canada. Talking about the Toronto team in the pre-show. That is a good point. That is a good point. Canada, HBK didn't screw Canada. Canada screwed Canada. We got a bunch of people who agree with me, saying they got Chase U for the win. We got a Power Driver Finisher who says Chase U wins and they start getting funded by the government. Now you're thinking.
I'm not going to say the joke that just popped into my head.
Come on! You know the rules here.
I am no, because there's a lot of times where I have to remember that I am a personality in the IWC, and I will be witch hunted if I say anything that is remotely, nearly, even slightly cancelable. So I just keep my mouth shut.
Fair. You can put it in the private chat. We got Bella B who says they don't think they're killing the business because they're doing it in WWE. Absolutely. WWE, It's okay. It's okay to do that. And it makes them different from everybody else. I love them as a team, and I agree with you before. I would love to see them on the main roster, mixing it up with some of the main roster teams like DIY. The Balor and McDonough is a good tag team as well. But yeah, I would love that as well. So, But next, we got the NXT Women's North American Championship, as it's going to be the inaugural champion, Kalani Jordan, defending against Sol Ruka. So I know that both of us was very high on Sol Ruka heading into that ladder match at Battleground, but it was Kalani Jordan who pulled out the win to become the inaugural champion. Since then, she has successfully defended against Michin on NXT TV, and it was Sol Ruka who defeated Ariana Grace to become the number one contender for the championship. They're billing this as babyface versus babyface, friend versus friend. Kalani Jordan is celebrating her 1-year anniversary of her debut on the NXT brand and in WWE. So this should be a very fun contest here. What have you thought about the build to this one, and who do you have winning on Sunday?
I think that the build has been fine. It's a face versus face matchup in NXT, and I think Kalani and Sol are both fantastic. I think they're both great in the ring and so on and so forth. But a lot of the gimmicks in NXT are kind of female gimmicks are kind of the same, almost not the same, but they're very similar, other than a few different traits. So it's hard really to flesh out two baby faces in developmental, but at the same time, we all know it's going to be a solid match. Sol and Kalani have both taken to wrestling really fast, who are basically, like you said, Kalani has only really been on television for a year. Like before that, she'd been through the Performance Center and so on. But these are all athletes coming from different sports. So it's incredible to watch how fast they get this. They're better than some indie names. And I know people are going to be like, oh my God, you're actually saying that? Yes, I am saying that. I'd say that of the lower echelon of indie names, I would say are not even close to the Performance Center. Because at the end of the day, they're being trained by absolute great coaches. Whatever you want to say about the Performance Center causing injuries and stuff like that, and then what build them up was at the end of the day, it's just going to be it's working. They're producing star after star after star. I get that for some it's not working out, But at the end of the day, you're going to have that with independent wrestlers as well, who are going to crash out of the NXT developmental system as well. Some people just aren't going to make it. Kalani and Soul, I think, are very comfortably going to make it. I think Kalani is really, really good. I think her gymnastics background has really helped her. Soul obviously has become kind of almost a daredevil of the NXT roster because of her finisher. I think we're going to see a lot of fun spots in this match. I think we're going to see a lot of kind of them both kind of trying to have an edge, like kind of have an edge to their characters, because it's face versus face matchup. Eventually, it's going to kind of divulge into that. But we'll see anyway. I think Kalani's going to retain. I think they're going to keep the belt on her for a little while. I think she's going to go on almost a Wesley kind of run where she kind of just takes on all comers. And yeah, I think that is going to be a really solid match. I don't think it's going to really be a 5-star match or something, but I think it's going to be a really fun one anyway, based on their backgrounds and what we've seen from them so far.
Yeah, I really like Sol Ruka because of the gimmick and her in-ring skills. I've called her female RVD. She just has, I don't know if she smokes weed, but like everything else, she fits to a T as far as like RVD in the ring. She's very innovative with her offense. Kalani Jordan, I like her, but I agree with you. The character isn't there yet, and it's not really connecting with me. I think that she has a great smile. She has a great look to her, but I want to see more character work. So I would actually, like, in my head when you said like one of these people have to kind of play the heel in this matchup, and I immediately thought it would be Sol Ruka because she's more of the veteran of the two, even though it's probably by only like a year or so. But I feel like Kalani would probably be more benefited by playing the heel in this matchup. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why I get that feeling, but I feel like it could show a different side of her, which is what we need to see. But a bunch of people agree with you and agree with me. I do have Kalani Jordan retaining the championship because she just won it. I think they are going to have her hold on to it. And they kind of have been, you know, even though this is the matchup at Heatwave, the bigger matchup that they're building to with the Women's North American Championship is Kalani versus her former friend, Fallon Henley. And Fallon Henley was the person that a lot of people thought was going to win the ladder match last month. So we'll see what happens here.
They could go a no contest route to build to Fallon, to be fair, and they could do a triple threat match at the next PLE. Who knows?
Yeah. You're actually right. Yeah, they could do that as well. But the more interesting of the two North American Championship matchups to me is the men's NXT North American Championship bout, as you have the dominant Oba Femi versus what many people call the greatest North American champion in the title's history, Wes Lee. Wes Lee returned just 2 months back. He was involved in the triple threat match at Battleground where Oba Femi retained against Joe Coffey and Wes Lee. Wes Lee made the challenge to Oba Femi following the PLE that he wanted his one-on-one opportunity, and Oba said you can have it, but it would be your first and last opportunity. Wes Lee went on to defeat Joe Coffey, and then the match was made official for Heatwave. Love the video package, the vignettes that they did on Tuesday. Just seeing the Wes Lee talking about Oba Femi and then the shadow showed up behind. That was great. Great stuff, the way they shot that. Really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this. Like, a lot of this card has a lot of like simple build of this person, number one contender, this one, that. But I feel like this is a nice flowing story from what happened at Battleground, and it seems to naturally go into this one. And it's kind of what we predicted going into Battleground, that Oba Femi would win to set up the one-on-one match between him and Wes Lee, and we got it here. Who do you think comes out with the win, and what have you thought about the build?
I think that it's pretty. I think Oba wins, but I think Wes is going to look good in the loss. I think Wes is going to, like we said, we kind of almost previewed this match at Battleground because it seemed pretty obvious that was the direction they were going to go. I agree with you with that promo package, man. Holy crap, that was awesome. Even the start of it where Oba grabs the title and pulls it back, but then it's actually Wes. That shot to open it is just sets the tone for the whole promo. I think Wes is phenomenal. But I think he's past the North American Championship. I think he has really surpassed that. I think he's ready for the NXT title. The problem is the NXT title has a litany of challengers coming down the card. So I think Wes would almost need a feud before Like, so he loses to Oba and then he starts to build some wins together. So I think Ethan Page might be a good option if he doesn't win the NXT title. But in this match, this is really going to be where we're going to see how good Oba really is at this stage. It's a singles match. It's against a smaller opponent. He's probably going to be in control for most of the match, and Wes is going to be fighting against him. So we're going to really see how good Oba is now and how much he's improved belt to belt in a singles match. We've seen him in triple threat matches and so on, but we haven't really seen him in a big singles match. And Wes is the perfect opponent for that, I think. So I think this is going to be match of the night, personally. I think it very easily could be. But I think Oba does retain. I don't think Wes wins. I think Wes loses, and then we start to build Wes up to take the NXT title off whoever the champion is when he does challenge.
And I agree with you. We kind of talked about it during the Battleground preview. Now that, you know, your Ilya Dragunov, your Carmelo Hayes are not on the NXT roster, it's really Wesley, Axiom, and Nathan Frazier who are like the main best workers on this brand. And you have Axiom and Nathan Frazier in the tag team division. Wesley is a guy that you do want to kind of see if he can work in that NXT Championship division. Yeah. But I do agree with you. I think here you got to have Obafemi win. I really want to see Obafemi just dominate as North American champion to the point that he does a Keith Lee and he just challenges for the NXT Championship as North American champion. Yeah. But I think this match is going to blow some people away because it will probably be Obafemi's best singles match. Not his best match because I still think that's Stand and Deliver with Josh Briggs and Dijak, but his best singles match may be this one on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So we're in agreement on that one. Let's see if we're in agreement on the NXT Women's Championship up for grabs as Roxanne Perez will defend against Lola Vice. We kind of talked about it a little with the promo that they had on Tuesday, but leading up to, you know, that show, I thought the build was pretty simple but effective, with Lola Vice kind of being the standout out of all the potential challengers that kind of stepped up to Roxanne Perez following her victory at Battleground. You had the likes of Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, JC Jane and Jasmine Nix, but it was Roxanne and Lola Vice that picked up a victory in a triple threat tag team matchup. And then following the matchup, it was Roxanne that laid out Lola Vice, but this led to Lola kind of getting her comeuppance the following week after Roxanne picked up a victory over Carmen Petrovic. Lola laid her out with a spinning back fist and stole the NXT Women's Championship before handing it over to GM Ava and said that she's coming for that title at Heatwave to set up this NXT Women's Championship matchup. And then it was Tuesday where WWE, I think, just decided they were like, okay, we're going to have to make one of these girls, you know, they're two heels going into the show. Let's make one of them babyface. So Lola Vice told a very emotional story about her mother, you know, fighting a disease, almost dying, and, you know, being able to live and fight through it. How she was sick. She got sick when she was going for her black belt, when she was in MMA. Very emotional story. Probably real emotions coming out. I don't just think it worked. It just didn't work for me. And also Lola Vice she laid out security following telling that emotional story with the spinning back fist, and then proceeded to dance as she was still crying. So yeah, didn't work for me. I know it probably worked better for you or for some people. Did not work for me, and I liked the story leading up to that promo. I like them being two heels that the fans just had to choose who they wanted to pick. And they probably would have chose Lola without her telling the story, because Lola is the more fan-friendly kind of heel, because she's cocky, she's confident, she does the dance. So they would have picked her anyway, because Roxanne has been a very effective heel in not making people like her, even though she was the plucky babyface, underdog babyface just 6 months ago. So I just don't understand why they did that. What did you think about the promo overall? If you have any other thoughts and the build to this matchup, and who do you have winning on Sunday?
I think that the feud's been fine. I don't think it was supposed to be anything really groundbreaking, but I think they've done really well with it. I think Lola's very much in a better place than where she was when she had the breakout contract and tried to cash in during the Lyra and Roxanne match earlier this year. I think the Shayna match helped her a lot. I don't think you really necessarily needed to, like you said, I don't think you necessarily needed to make her a heel or a face or whatever. You just had to kind of just go with just keep it the way it was. It was doing well. So yeah, I think that Roxanne probably retains. I don't think there's a very big chance that Lola does. But yeah, it should be interesting to say the least. I think Roxanne retains. I don't really have much to say about this match. I just think that it's kind of like, I think it's just kind of there almost. Lola's been great in the build. I think it'll be a good match, a very good match to be fair. I don't know. It really does feel like Roxanne's just waiting for Julia. That's what it really does feel like. They're kind of just trying to give her these credible challengers to build up to almost like Will Chisholm just said in that donation, the final boss. So like, yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, we do have that super chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much once again, Will. He says, that was a good story Lola told, but like the final boss says, F your story. This Julia's title after her marigold match at some point, or what SP3 calls it, NXT Japan. I was told by Chase Oliver on Tuesday that marigold in Japanese means NXT Japan. That's what I've been told. I don't have a dictionary, a Japanese to English dictionary, but that's what it looks like. Like, even when I see the words marigold, I'm like NXT Japan, and I hear Rossi accidentally spilling the beans that Triple H gave him the opportunity to do this. So that's all I see. I'm sorry, guys. But no. Or Joshi NXT, as some people call it as well. But thank you for the super chat donation, Will. As far as this matchup goes, I definitely agree with you. Like, I definitely agree with Will as well that, yeah, the bigger matchup, they already teased it as Stand and Deliver with Roxanne's reaction to seeing Julia in the front row is Julia versus Roxanne. I like the fact that they're, that unfortunately, due to circumstances, it's not happening here, so that Roxanne can have a big, long reign before Julia comes in. So she's more of like an insurmountable champion that Julia has to overcome when she comes into NXT. But Lola, I also agree with you that she's come a long way from when she cashed in the breakout tournament contract, which I think that was in February at Vengeance Day. So that was just a couple of months ago. And I think that not only the Shayna matchup, but the feud overall with Natty, that's where I really think that she came into her own. Like the promos with Natty, the matches with Natty really helped her out. The matchup with Shayna showed a different side, showed more of that vicious MMA fighter that's inside of her that she was before in Bellator. So she's come a long way. I just wanted her to just stick with that character. Stick with the character who just beat the hell out of an MMA fighter and then danced afterwards. I enjoyed that. I know some people didn't. I enjoyed that. I just wanted her to stay on that path instead of trying to make her babyface. It was a good emotional story, but I didn't see any tears. Like that was my other thing. I was like, is she crying? Or is she just getting emotional but unable to form tears? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We got Furious in the chat who said the security guys was Cora Jade and Maxine Dupree's boyfriends. I did not hear that. Wow. Very nice. Very nice. We got Chase who says, Lola, so toxic. I love it. Okay. There you go. There you go. Chase says her boyfriends probably have the best toxic fights with her. Jesus. What are we doing? What are we doing in the chat, Chase? Come on. We also got Chris who says Roxanne Perez will be on the main roster after she loses her NXT Women's Championship against Julia. Yes, but the fact that she's been on so long and been able to turn heel, and really she's excelled more as a heel to me than as the plucky underdog babyface, because I thought that would be her only role on when she got called up to the main roster. But in a lot of ways, she showed sides of AJ Lee as a heel, also the sides of like Bayley, because Bayley was another person who I thought would only be the plucky underdog babyface when she went to the main roster, and she excelled as a heel. Roxanne has done the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that.
And then finally, Corey, we got the main event for the NXT Championship. It's a fatal four-way matchup. It's been a while, in my opinion, since we had a multi-man matchup for the NXT Championship, but it goes down here as Trick Williams will defend against the youngest man on the main NXT roster right now, or seems like it. He's new, he's fresh, Javon Evans, and boy, oh boy, he's representing for us Negroes. I appreciate you, Javon. And we got all ego Ethan Page in Canada against another Canadian in Shawn Spears. This all came together with Javon Evans picking up the win in the 25-man number one contender battle royal, surprising a lot of people as he would be going up against his good friend Trick Williams. But then he lost in the main event against Ethan Page, who also Javon lost the week prior to Shawn Spears. So both Page and Spears had their stake, had their argument to get into this matchup. And then Shawn Spears furthered it by defeating the NXT champion Trick Williams in his first loss since he's won the title, setting up this fatal four-way. They had a good segment on Tuesday with the contract signing where I thought Javon came off the best, talking about, I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm ready for this. The young OG ready for this. I love his promo style. It's just great. It's just natural. I love it. So this is, I think this has a lot more potential than the Trick Williams Ethan Page main event from Battleground to be a great matchup, because you got the veterans in Page and Spears, you got the young OG who just has this fun, bouncy in-ring styles, and then you have Trick who's just a star and has so much charisma. What have you thought about the build to this matchup? What do you have winning on Sunday?
I think the build has been a pretty good way to just build to a four-way match. Everyone has all the contenders have a reason for why they should be in the match. It's not just like, oh, they all want the title shot, so they all get a title shot. They've all beaten each other here, and around the place. So, and Trick being a babyface champion, of course, he's going to take all comers. I think that Javon should win this. I really do think that Javon should win this. And I know that's crazy when you think about it, but he's ready. He's been ready. He's good enough on the mic now that he's already at a point where he could win it now, and everyone would be like, "Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense." Yep. And the only reason that I don't want that to happen is because I don't want Trick's reign to end so soon. That would be my only fault with it. I don't really know if Ethan and Spears they're in Canada, so I'm going to say they do have a chance, but I don't know. I really don't know what way this match is going to go, to be honest. I really don't, and that's a good thing. I really don't know. I think they could pull a shocker and take the title off Trick a little earlier than people thought. And obviously, I think if he loses the title, I don't think that means he'd even be going up to the main roster. I think it'd be a lot like Mello, where he stays around for quite a while after. So we'll see how that goes, but I really don't know who wins this match. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, has potential to be a really fun match, but I couldn't predict who wins this match, truthfully.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more unpredictable NXT Championship matches that they've had in a long time. Like you said, Javon Evans, he would make history becoming the youngest NXT champion, like Chris is saying here in the chat. My only guarantee is that I don't see Shawn Spears winning this, even though it's in Canada. I don't see Shawn Spears winning this, but I am going with all ego Ethan Page. I said this when we did the Battleground preview. I was like, he loses at Battleground, but then he gets his rematch at Heatwave in Canada, in Toronto. You got to strike while the iron is hot with Ethan Page. I don't know if maybe they could basically, keep him on the back burner and then get him hot again, but he's so new and fresh to the NXT, audience, to the WWE audience. I think that you have to capitalize on the way that he came in, and he already has set up for potential NXT championship matches with the likes of, Ora Mensa showing a different side of himself, Noam Dar when he finally comes back from injury, Trick Williams. I think he would do better as chasing the championship, as Kevin Nash said on Who Killed WCW. The babyface always makes money. He was smoking weed while he's doing it because he had bloodshot eyes. The babyface always makes more money when he's chasing the championship. So I think that putting Trick back in the chase position is another potential matchup between those two. Javon Evans chasing the championship makes a whole lot of sense as well. So that is why I'm going with all ego Ethan Page to become our new NXT champion. So you're going with Javon. I'm going with Ethan. We got Hassan who's going with Trick. Greg who's also going with Trick. We got Casper in the chat who says Ethan Page for the win. Then Trick can win it back on the debut episode of NXT in October. That's a good shot.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. Very good idea.
You're gonna need something. I think that, having Trick, you can have Trick win back the debut. I think that debut episode in October is also probably where they'll aim to have Julia make her debut. Just put all the big stuff on there because you're already going to pop a bigger rating than you're doing on USA on the CW, but pop a huge rating by having a title change, having a big title matchup, having a big debut on that show. That seems like a good position there. And then we have a super chat donation once again from our boy Will Chisholm, who says, SP3, give her some slack. Everybody can't cry on the drop of a dime like Cody with the Cody crying face, LOL. Cody was just there on NXT. You should have trained her. They should have told him that's what she's about to do. Can you talk with her for a minute and show her how to cry on cue? My dad, Dusty. The Cody crying face, man. He does an effective cry. I never see a lot of tears with Cody, but he does an effective of getting emotional without it was very overwhelming. It felt like she was really getting emotional because she could not get words out. Let's see. So, that's what I wanted. But thank you for the super chat donation, Will. And thank you, Corey, as always, joining us on these NXT Premium Live event previews. I have so much fun always talking to you about what's going on in NXT and previewing this show. But of course, you do your main work over on Fightful Select, $5 a month over at patreon.com/Fightful Select, where you can see all his reporting on NXT, WWE, and whatnot, and Sean Ross Sapp. They do great podcasts over there, but I'll leave the plug-in to you, sir. The floor is yours. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Guys, you can follow me. You can see at Corey Brennan FF, and you can go and subscribe to Fightful Select, guys. Just uploaded a big Julia update again. We'll be doing more Heatwave updates up until Sunday, so we will see what else comes of this weekend. And yeah, guys, I do interviews for Fightful all the time with independent names in Europe. Have been doing more US names and so on and so forth. But yeah, so you can follow me, as I said, at Corey Brennan FF on Twitter. And yeah, thanks to SP3 for having me as always.
As always, good sir. I always appreciate having this time to chat with you. And yes, you are a legend, like it says in the chat. Yes, Andy, legend guest, Corey, for sure. Go over and follow him. Go over and follow Fightful Select. And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/True Hill Heat, $3 a month. Best place where you can support us when we are not live here. But check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our let me see what we got here. Like our Rated Raw review from this past Tuesday, the luckiest girl in the world, reviewing WWE Raw from this past Monday. Check out our AEW NJPW Forbidden Door review from earlier in the week. Check out our Money in the Bank preview with myself, Maggie, and Spencer Love, breaking down the show tomorrow night in Toronto. And check out AE Rambo episode 153, Restore the Healing, as we talked about the MJF heel turn, the return of Hangman Adam Page, and everything that went down on AEW Dynamite Beach Break. But thank you once again to Corey. Thank you to all of you with the super chats, with the comments. Always appreciate that support. I will be back here live tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. The True Hill Heat Flash Hit Podcast. Miss Chrissy Love, True Draw Josh will be here as well as we discuss this weekend wrestling with everything that's going on. Crazy week as we head into Money in the Bank and NXT Heatwave. But for Corey, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our NXT Heatwave 2024 preview. We are signing off until